Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the A-Plus League.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the A-Plus Sports League podcast, Golf Edition. Today we're going to be talking about the 2020 Houston Open at Memorial Park in Houston, Texas. With me, as always, is Chris O'Neill. Chris, what's happening?
What's going on? What's happening, Bird? I am still licking my wounds from past weekend. Bermuda really fucked me.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Bermuda really hurt both of us, I think. Chris a little bit more than me. I had Doc Redmond as my outright play. I bet him. I had him as a one and done in our league, and he came in fourth after being the 54-hole leader. But Chris, on the other hand, had a little bit more of a dramatic situation.
Yes, we wrapped up the podcast, and I was really liking Wes Bryan. Slow start for him. Sucked on Friday. Completely missed the cut. But I did make an audible for my one and done pick on the week, and it was I switched up to Wyndham Clark, who was hot, and if you were watching the tournament, you saw him on Sunday with a 3-stroke lead on 13, and then absolutely shit his pants. He played solid, but Brian Gay was the one making the shots at the end that really clutched birdie on 18, and then Wyndham Clark couldn't make a fucking putt. So staring at the leaderboard, I'm trying to catch a couple of people in the standings, my brother and my father being one of them, with a couple of tournaments left, and then my brother-in-law, I got to catch him too because I got some serious bets on that. In addition to having Clark being a fucking skin pick.
Yeah, that's brutal when you have a skin pick. He's sitting there. He's got the lead. He blows it. It goes to a playoff. You hope he's going to pull it through, and he can't even win that. And I know your pain, man. I had 2 playoffs this year in the one-and-done league. Neither were skins, but it's tough when your guy just makes it to that playoff and can't pull it out for you. So
yeah, so that's kind of where my brutal things were. The other guy that I had as a top 10 was Norlander. Again, shot the bed. That was a missed cut. My sleeper was Kyle Stanley, bottom of the barrel. But I actually hit on my fades. Stay away from Henrik Stenson, miscut there, and then I stayed away from Brandon Todd. You and I were both on that train, and avoided him. Yeah,
and in terms of my outright play, again, it was Doc Redmond. He came T4. My top 10 was Justin, but he sucked and missed the cut, unfortunately. I think I'm gonna blame that on the weather. It was a really tough day on that Friday round. My sleeper was Sepp Straka, came T21. Not a bad showing for Sepp. Top 10 to fade. I was with you on Stenson, but to be contrarian, I decided to go with McCarthy. That wasn't a great pick. He finished T4. Chalk call for in 0 lineups. That was Emiliano Grillo. I faded him. He finished T34, nothing special. He was flirting with it at one point, but nothing really. And then the 6 and 7K golfers that I had in every lineup, Straka and Duffner. Straka, again, was in T21. Duffner came 58th. He made the cut, but didn't do anything too special. I think we were really on top of it, Chris.
Yeah, we were pretty close. Did you do a cut sweat on Justin Suh? You saw he finished 18 on Saturday morning. He was one shot off the course, the cut line. And on 17, finished up 17, and one of the golfers in his group actually finished 18, and he chose not to play 18, knowing that he needed a birdie on Saturday morning to finish his second round. Didn't get it. Stayed for the weekend, played 1 hole, and his ass went home.
I did not see that at all. Unfortunately, Justin did not make it, and that was really the only blemish on otherwise a stellar card for us. We both had guys in the top 5 fighting for the lead. And I think we can take that luck over to Houston this week. What do you think, Chris?
I hope so. I mean, we're not working with a ton of information. We get the Vivint Houston Open this week. It's at Memorial Park, which is a change up from the golf course of Houston where it's been at the previous years. This is the first time they're playing at this course in 51 years. It's a municipal course that has gone under redesign. A couple of years ago, they brought on Brooks Kepca, actually, as their player representative from the PGA Tour to lend some insight into what he wanted to do with the course. Got rid of some of the bunkers on there, increased some of the variety of the length on the par 3s, and kind of changed it up to make it more of a player's course. It's still public, though. You can go there. You can play around for about $50.
I heard it was even cheaper. It was $35.
Really? Wow.
It sounds like Newton Commonwealth.
Yeah. It'd be a fun course to get out on. they've lengthened it a little bit. We have this week 7,025 yard par 72.
I was just about to edit in our thing. I just saw the actual distance 7,300. I've seen different information on this thing all over the place. I'm looking at it right now. It's the 7,309. I don't even know. I've seen it in 3 different places. I've gotten there's not a lot of information on this course. It's only a year old since the redesign.
Yeah. So you see a par 73. I saw a par 71 earlier in the week. We're not working with some of the best information here.
It's definitely a par 72.
Okay.
I know that. The distance, not sure.
Okay. We do have from information. It's a John Brennemus original design, redesigned by Tom Doak and Brooks Kepca, like we said 2 years ago. We have Bermuda greens on this, bent grass in the fairways. The rough, they're saying, is going to be a little bit thick, and we got a tighter fairways. Water's only going to come into play on a couple of holes on the back. And like I said, we got rid of a lot of the bunkers. There's only about 19 or 20 bunkers on the entire course. So like I said, water comes into play on 16 and 17. Those are going to be 2 scoreable holes. 16 is a long par 5. 17 is a short par 4. As long as you keep it in the fairway there, you can approach the green pretty well. 18 is a 500-yard par 4. It's going to be a little bit difficult finishing hole with the length there. I mentioned the variety on the par 3s. We have 2 that are under 170, and we have 1 that's over 230. So that distance differential there could negate some of the par 3 scoring, could highlight some of the people with the better, shorter irons. What do you think there, Matt?
I think Brooks Koepka, when he was helping out, just like, I want to make this course as funky as fucking possible, and just messing around with the distances on the par 3s and everything. From what I read, they just want to get rid of the bunkers because, to me and you, I hate the sand. But to Brooks Koepka, I guess it's no big deal. So that's why there's a lack of bunkers. I think he just wanted to toy with some of the distances on these par 5s and par 3s, so some guys can go out there and get eagles, and other guys are going to get a 5 on a par 3 without even hitting it into water. So it's going to be an interesting course, considering we've never really seen it.
Yeah, and we got 1 reachable par 4, which is the 13th, which would be a fun hole for scoring. So I feel like there's a lot of birdies to be had on the back.
So the fun fact I found out about this, and what I keep reading about, is that the first hole is a par 5 for the regular municipal golf course. There was talks that they were going to move it up to a par 4, which is why I think a lot of people thought it might be a par 71. PGA said, fuck it, it's a 500-yard par 5. These guys might get there. If Bryson was playing, he'd get there in 1.
And go driver wedge on a par 5, a PGA length par 5. Now, that should be a fun hole as well.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Today we're going to change things up a little bit. I think we're going to just start off with our betting card. I'm going to go into a few of the different guys that I like for outright picks, maybe a top 10 play here, and then we'll jump into the Draftkings scoring. How's that sound, Chris?
Sure.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Thompson Farms. Thompson Farms, fantastic purveyors of meat. Brisket, burgers, or that large Italian sausage that you've been dying for all week. Thompson Farms, always tastes great in your mouth.
So since we don't have too much information on this Memorial Park course, we kind of had to take some liberties on just the limited information we know, which is coming off of tour cards. I mean, we know the distances on the par 3s. We know the distance in some of the par 4s. We have an idea of what the green types are. There's 5 par 5s. There's 5 par 3s. So when I went to my custom stat model, I was looking at off the tee, on the approach, around the green, because apparently these greens are pretty tough, but I didn't do around the greens too much. I did bring in putting because from what I've read, instead of chipping around these greens, a lot of guys are just going to putt onto the greens because the rough around the greens is super short. So I think that's actually going to be a big factor. It's one of the reasons I really like Mackenzie Hughes this week. I feel like that's a guy that even if he doesn't hit the green, he's going to hit that 60-foot putt from off the green and put it within an inch of the hole. So I like that stat. Proximity-wise, 200 plus and then 175 to 200. It seems like that's going to be the range for these par 5s that aren't too long, or the longer par 4s. Also, as Chris mentioned, there's par 3s that are over 220. So I've got that as a proximity stat. I've also got par 3s over 225. Not too much because it's not that prevalent, but if you can get a birdie on one of those holes, that's going to be big. Fairways are narrow, so I did fairways gained, and then I did shots gained on par 5s because there are so many. If we can get some eagles, I think that's going to be big. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, minus 20-something tournament. Chris, what did you have for your custom stat model?
Yeah, I looked at some of those very similar ones and some of the generic things. We're looking at bogey avoidance here. It's a municipal course, so it's going to play pretty easy with the shot angles and approaches to the green. That was one of the features that they were talking about. The holes that can be approached from either side of the fairway, because it kind of plays towards those the golfers, Matt, the me and you, that go out there and hack the shit out of the course and don't really can't really place the drives anywhere. So we have opportunities gained. I'm going to put in there as well. Just people that are going to knock it, keep it up in the fairway. I'm sure that the rough's going to be a little bit longer at this course than it has been for some of the municipal people there. So
for people that don't know, opportunities gained is a very GIR stat. It's opportunities for a birdie from the fairway.
Thank you, Matt. That, and then again, I looked at some of the par threes because I feel like that the people that are taking advantage of those holes, especially the shorter ones, are going to be the ones that are taking the extra stroke there when they can throw those birdies in.
So using our custom stat models, we spit out some information I filtered by the last 6 months, basically from the COVID restart. And it's interesting. One name that didn't come up for me that I'm still going to bet this week, simply on the narrative that he helped design the course, is Brooks Kepka. I found him at 18-1. The thing that scares me about Brooks is the knee. Hasn't played very much. When he has played, he hasn't looked great. He played at the Zozo, but he didn't finish anything spectacular there.
I mean, outside of his Sunday though, he had a pretty good round. So he was 1 or 2 over on Friday, but or on Thursday, killed it on Friday and Saturday though, and then kind of backed up a little bit. He was sniffing the top 15. And
that's the thing that's exciting about him. He showed signs of his old form. The thing is, can he put it all together in a single round? We'll see. At 18-1 in this level of a field, I think Brooks Kepka is a nice little play there. And for a course that not many people know, since it's just been designed a year ago, he helped design it. He should know it better than anybody. Am I right?
Yeah, I agree with you there.
The next guy I had was Scotty Sheffler. 19-1, which is shockingly low. When I was originally looking at him, he pops in my stat model. He comes up like crazy. I know he missed a little time with COVID, but going into the playoff run, he looked great. He crushed at the Northern Trust. It was just that DJ had the round of his life. I don't love it at 19-1. I wish it was more like 25-1, but it's one I'm highly considering. Another one I had on my card, Sungjae Im, 26-1. This one is more of a narrative in terms of Bermuda putting. Sungjae is one of the better putters when it comes to Bermuda surfaces. He's still got great ball striking. This is a field that I feel like he can handle. There's a few guys at the top, but he's right up there with them. He's 9,300 in DraftKings.
All right. Now I think that gets into my guy down here is Cam Davis. I love Cam Davis. He has good form recently. He had a 6th at the Sanderson Farms. And he's a pretty consistent golfer. I have him up in my stat model. He avoids bogeys very well. And his number is 60. What do we have him at? 61-1?
61-1 is what I found him at.
Yeah.
You might be able to find a better number, but it's probably in the 60s somewhere.
Yeah. So he had a couple of missed cuts over the summer, and then once the summer was closing into the fall season, he had a 12 at the 3M. He had a 15 at the Wyndham. Had a 29 at the Northern Trust, and like I said, the 6th at the Sanderson. His form's really rounding out. I like Cam Davis here.
One more golfer I like on here. I'm debating if I still want to bet it. I think at the odds that I found, I probably will. It's Harold Varner III. He missed the cut at Bermuda last week, but before that he had a 13 at the Shriners, 29 at the Safeway, missed cut at the Northern Trust, 7 at Wyndham, 29 at the PGA. He's very good when it comes to the ball striking with the approach off the tee. He's had a good restart. Some comp courses might be the Charles Schwab or Travelers. I really think Travelers might be a good one to look at. He finished 32nd there. Not great, but he has the type of skill set that I think can translate to this golf course. And at 70-1, I like him. I also like the fact that he missed the cut at Bermuda, to be honest. If you're playing pretty well and then all of a sudden you just miss a cut at a shitty field off a bad round with weather, I think you can easily bounce back. He got to Houston, got over the time delay. Bermuda's an hour ahead. He had to move 3 hours. There's daylight savings. Who fucking knows what circadian rhythm got messed up there? But I think it's a fun guy to play. I'll be playing him in DraftKings, and for 71, might sprinkle a little bit on him.
Yeah, exactly. For somebody that was the number 2 in the field, 3-5, one of the favorite golfers from last week.
He goes from a betting favorite to 7,800 this week in DraftKings.
Exactly. Definitely a rebound opportunity for Harold Varner.
Just value. A good value,
Exactly.
I think that's going to be it. The only other bet that I'm debating on doing is Sung Jae Im top 10 to go with that outright bet. Again, I think this is a style of course Sung Jae is going to do well at. He loves playing in the Florida golf swing. This is Houston. It's not quite the same, but it's a similar environment. He really crushes those Bermuda greens. And he had a 41st at the Zozo, a 45th at the CJ Cup, a 13th at the Shriner, 28th at Sanderson Farms, 22 at the U.S. Open, 11th at the Tour Championship. He's really just been on fire lately. I think he's definitely going to compete at the top. In his last tournament at the Zozo, he lost 4.8 strokes putting. He does not do that when he's on Bermuda. He's much better when it comes to the Bermuda greens. And if he can get even just marginal gains on that, I think he can compete with the rest of the field the way his irons and driver have been.
Good.
So with that, I think we've got all our betting in there. Let's jump right into the Draftkings, Chris.
Okay, great. And so we're going to look straight at the top of this list. There's 5 guys over 10,000 in DraftKings scoring. It's starting off with number 1 player in the world, hottest golfer in the world. He's taken a few weeks off, recovering from COVID. We have Dustin Johnson at 11.5. He's ranked number 1 in my model. Best player in the world, hottest golfer in the world. I think his last 5 tournaments have had 2 runners-up, 2 wins, and top 5. He can't be beat right now, and it seems like in a field that is kind of got the medium depth like this one here, that he's kind of head and shoulders above the field, and that's what you're going to see with the DraftKings pricing. He's $600 ahead of Tony Finau, and he's $1,000 more expensive than Brooks Kepka. So. There's an avoidance. There's people might not want to play him this week just because he is the most expensive. That's tend to how Matt, you and I know we kind of lean away from the guy at the top of the field, but there's no reason to not go Dustin Johnson this week.
Usually I tend to stay away from the guy at the top of the field. Not always. In this case, I'm just worried with the layoff and COVID. I mean, DJ was one of the hottest players in the world. He's top 3 in the world just talent-wise. But it's one that I'm probably going to wait and see on the COVID situation. Maybe I'll play him a little bit at the Masters, but I don't think I'm going to play him this week.
So one thing we haven't talked about yet is that lead up to the Masters. This is the last tournament before the Masters, and how many of these guys in the field are going to be using this as a sort of tune-up for the Masters?
I don't know how many guys are actually going to be motivated to win this tournament.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you got Dustin Johnson out there. Maybe he's got to try some things out with the swing. Maybe he's got to, just get back into the field of competition golf, and maybe he's not too excited about playing through deep into a Sunday here. And
I think this is just a get back spot for him.
Yeah, and that's kind of the attitude I'm going to see with a couple of golfers here at the top. That they have their eyes set on Augusta next week. Pack their bags, get over there early. That's definitely something that I have in the back of my mind when I'm spending top dollar on a top golfer here.
Yeah, so let's go through the rest of the 10Ks. We have DJ at 11.5, Tony Finau at 10.9, also coming off of COVID, Brooks Kepka at 10.6, Tyrell Hatton at 10.3, and Hideki at an even 10K. Chris, who do you like in the 10s?
In the 10s, I feel like this is a tune-up for most of them. I do think, though, Dustin Johnson, he's kind of sneaky in a tournament like this. This field kind of reminds me a lot of the Travelers, and he just went out and burned the place up. Burn the place
to the ground?
Exactly. En route to a...
burn this place to the fucking ground.
En route to a victory there. So I think if I'm going to lean anybody in the top, I want to avoid Hideki Matsuyama, so I'd probably throw Dustin in my lineup. But like I said, I'm probably not going to be playing a lot of people in the 10K range.
I'm with you. I'm not going to play too much in the 10K. Hideki, I just can't deal with the putter. Every time I watch him fucking putt, it's atrocious. It makes me want to throw up. So I can't do that. DJ, I'm avoiding for COVID. Hatton, I'll get to later. I'm probably going to play him a little bit in DK, but maybe not too much. Kepka, he likes the design, but Tony Finau's the guy I like here, Chris. And he's also coming off of COVID, but here's a guy who might actually have motivation because he's only ever won the Puerto Rico Open. And he ranks 1 in shots gained on par 5s. He's number 4 in my stat model. He's good in the proximity ranges that we like. He's a strong golfer. I just think that maybe this is the week Tony does it. Bermuda is not his preferred surface, so he might struggle there. But if there's any young, strong guy that can come back from COVID, I like Tony.
Okay. Let's move down to the 9,000s here. Leading the way, we have Victor Hovland, Scotty Sheffler, Russell Henley, Sung Jae, your guy, Adam Scott, Sergio Garcia, and Jason Day at 9,000 even. Golfers in this range, looks like we got a mix. We have some old pros. We have some hot shots near the top. Who do you like here, Matt?
I'll get right to it. I like Hovland, but he worries me, especially if this course is going to be tough around the green, so I'm probably going to be out on him for the most part. Like Scheffler, Henley, he pops in the stat model, but I don't know. I've already talked about. Love him. Adam Scott, I think it's going to be a tune-up. And then the old guys I might just fade down at the bottom there.
I love Russell Henley. I've played him the last couple of weeks. He's hot. His form right now is fantastic. He's number 2 in my model. He putts very well on Bermuda. He's coming off 4 at the Zozo, a 3 at the CJ Cup, an 8 at the Northern Trust, a 9 at the Wyndham. I mean, he's one of the hotter golfers right now going into the fall. Yeah, I like Russell Henley.
It was honestly pretty funny because when we were starting to look at this, I saw Russell Henley, I saw how high he was priced, and I saw the golfers around him, and I was like, oh, that's going to easily be my top 10 fade. And then I pulled up the numbers Chris just pulled up, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, he's been hot. And it's not in the wrong way either. It's mostly been with approach. Last tournament he played was at the Zozo. Finished 4th on 9.2 strokes on gained on approach. He lost 5 strokes putting. If he just goes even with that, because straight 0 on the putting, he probably wins that tournament.
And Bermuda's his best surface, so I like Russell Henley here. It could be a fun play.
It's a good one. I like him. I think I'm going to fade some of these older guys. Jason Day's probably going to fucking withdraw after a day or two. I mean, who fucking knows with him? So let's just jump down to the 8Ks. 8,900, we have Lanto Griffin, 8,800, Doc Redmond, Corey Connors at 8,700, Zach Johnson at 86, Harmon 85, Spieth 84, Kim, 8,300, Shane Lowry 8,200, Cam Davis, who Chris already mentioned, at 8,100, James Hahn at 8,000 even, and Stuart Sink also at 8,000. Do you not like me taking Pat Mayo? Kim.
Just hate you screaming in this room right now. I like Cam Davis. Obviously, we talked about him earlier. His form's good. Rates out very well in the stat model here. Pretty consistent golfer. And at 8,100, you can do worse at that number. Another guy that I like, Doc Redmond, good form, coming off a pretty successful week at Bermuda. Coming back here, he's somebody that might be gunning for the top prize finally. I think Siwoo Kim's going to be one of my guys, too. He's a consistent ball striker, somebody who's getting better around the greens, especially in the last couple of months. And Lanto Griffin, past champion. He won this last year. Different golf course, same area of the country. Could be his time to shine.
We like a lot of the same golfers around here, Chris, but I do not like Lanto Griffin. I am going to be full fading Lanto Griffin, especially at that price. I mean, if I can go up a little bit more and get the guys we just talked about or jump down to Doc Redmond, who I do like at 8,800. With you, I like Siwoo Kim. I think this course suits him well. He's good on Bermuda. He's got good around the green games, number 1 in that stat. Cam Davis also. Sneakily, I don't know why, I'm trending towards Shane Lowry. He's just a top-tier golfer. Not top-tier, but he's one of the better golfers in the field in terms of world golf rankings. Bermuda's not his preferred surface, but I think he might make some noise this weekend.
I'm going to stay away from Shane Lowry. He's just too inconsistent for me. What do we make of Corey Connors, though? Great off the tee.
Full fade for me.
Really?
He's with Hideki. If I can see you make a 4-foot putt, I might start betting you or start using my Draftkings. But until then, I'm stay away.
All right. Sorry, Corey. Put a plug in there for you, but that's not happening. All right, let's jump down to the 7,000s. Leading the way here, your fade from last week, who wound up T4, Denny McCarthy.
So funny thing is, I'm on Denny McCarthy this week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. He proved me wrong. The thing I didn't know about the Bermuda is how much shot gains putting mattered, and McCarthy had a day, and it was actually Sunday. He went -8, I believe, on the last day.
Oh yeah,
and had a fantastic day. Finished T4. I think if this becomes any sort of putting contest, he can crush it here. If he gets to the green in 2 on a short par 5, he's got the putting capability to make eagles. So I like him, especially at a price point a lot cheaper this week.
Great. We also have Emiliano Grillo, Noren, Westwood, Harold Varner III, Wyndham Clark, the Gooch, Van Ruyen, Streelman, Hughes, Fratelli, and
I think
about a bunch of other golfers all the way down to Matthew Neesmith. Off the page right now, obviously we see Harold Varner. It's going to be one of our outright bets. He's sitting in there at 7,800. Good form. Got the weekend off. He's going to be coming into this tournament looking to prove something. Emiliano Grillo, somebody who, if you're loving the putts stat, he's probably going to let you down. But
another guy I don't like.
Yeah, he worked his way to 5 under this past weekend. Is hitting the ball pretty consistently. He's putting himself in position to score and just not doing it.
He does pop in my model, so maybe he gets Sergio lucky and just closes his eyes and makes a fucking putt. But until then, I'm not really on him. I do like your HB3 bet. And the guy I like in that range is someone Chris was on last week, Wyndham Clark. He showed a great couple rounds at Bermuda. He had a 13th at Shriners a week before where he gained a lot of strokes putting. I think this might be a good course for him. I think he can keep it hot.
And then my other guy that I like in this range is going to be down all the way at 7,200 is Russell Knox. He's another guy, like we say, can't make a fucking putt, but has been striking the ball well recently. He had a 16 at Bermuda. Outside of a couple of missed cuts, he had a 9 at the Safeway. He's somebody that when the putter is on, or at least playing close to neutral, he approaches pretty well. He's pretty good tee to green. He's somebody at this price point that you can hopefully sneak a top 10 or top 15 out of. And
how much does he cost it this week, Chris?
I see him at 72.
Okay. 7,200. That's pretty cheap for Russell Knox. Wouldn't mind playing that. I'm going to back up a little bit. One guy I like at 7,600, Mackenzie Hughes. Again, he's just popping in my model. If this becomes an around the green and putting game, I mean, there's no one better after Denny McCarthy than Mackenzie Hughes, and he likes to drain those long putts, so I think he might benefit from this. He likes Bermuda, too. I think it was the Honda where he finished third and was competing with Sung Jae Im and Tommy Fleetwood. So.
Great. Good to see him there. What do we make of Henrik Stenson? He was somebody that people were kind of high on last week, shit the bed, as you and I both predicted, and he's sitting there at 7,400.
That's a guy. So I put a question mark next to him in our spreadsheet because I don't know what to do with him. One thing I heard is that these Bermuda greens are very similar to Eastlake. I pulled shot gain putting data from Eastlake in the last. I pulled shot gain data from Eastlake over the last 20 rounds. First person popped up, Henrik Stenson. Granted, that goes back a long way, I'm sure, but I'm still staying away from Stenson. He just has looked terrible. He withdrew after he was going +8 on Friday at the Bermuda.
Yeah, exactly. That bastard. You and I were looking at that. We were following him on Friday there, and we were watching his number just go up and up and up. And then once he withdrew, you didn't even see his score for the round, which just absolutely killed me.
Chris, do you
dancing on the grave.
Chris, do you think he was trying to hide some stats? Piece of shit.
Unbelievable.
Golfer I don't like in this range that I'm sure a lot of people might consider is Phil Mickelson at 7,500. I just haven't seen anything from Phil recently that makes me want to put him in my lineup.
He's another guy that's going to be a Masters tune-up.
It's going to be a Masters tune-up. He does do well in Houston. He's won the Houston Open before. It was a different course, obviously, again, but I don't know, maybe he just likes the hot weather and the short shorts.
He's definitely got the calves out for the practice rounds this week.
Exactly. Anyone else in the 7K range, Chris?
So last weekend's darling got to play the round with his brother. Is sitting there at 7,100. Ollie Snyderjans. What do we make of his form?
Keep me the fuck away from that. Google.
Really? All right.
I don't have a lot of stats on him. He hasn't played a lot of golf. I think it's his only registered round in the last 6 months.
Yeah, because he's been playing a lot on the
Corn Ferry Tour, Chris?
Shut up. Yes, the Corn Ferry Tour. I was going to call it the...
You know what? He is the best golfer in minor league golf. That you are right. He might do well here.
Shut up.
No, he played well. He played really well at Bermuda. He ended up finishing third, and maybe he can get it back together. I'm just not interested.
Okay. All right, let's jump down to the 6,000s then just to keep this rolling. Leading the way at 6,900 is our favorite golfer, Bo Hossler.
Bo Hossler, my man, he will be used heavily in my lineups. I'm all in on Bo Hossler. He's popping in my model. Bermuda green putter. I'm going to be all over Bo. Let's go, Bo. We're going to get you on the podcast. I can't fucking wait. First, we're going to win some money on you. I might even let's what are his odds, Chris? Let's see what he is to win this fucking thing.
Are we throwing an outright on Bo Hossler right now?
I'm going to go look. Let's see. I got to really score. He's 110-1, Chris.
Let's do it. Fire it up. Bo Hossler. All right, heard it here first. Bo Hossler.
Sleeper pick of the week, Bo Hossler, 110-1.
Outright at Houston. Boom.
Lock it in.
All right, so I think that's going to cover the 6,000 golfer that you have in every single one of your Draftkings models. We're going to sink and swim with Bo Hossler right here. But looking down at the rest of the people in the 6,000s, a couple of people that stand out to me, I have Pat Perez. Padraig Harrington had a good round last week, but I'm going to stay away from him. Tom Hoagie, Charles Schwartzel, Adam Long, Ji Zhang,
Jason
Jason Duffner, Brian Stewart, who is one of those guys, he'll pop at the beginning or the end of certain rounds, and you see him sniff the leaderboard and then fade. I don't know if I can trust him down there.
Yeah, I can understand that. Some of the golfers that I liked in this range, we're kind of diverse in this area. I'm going to do it. I'm going to definitely be using Francisco Molinari this week. I know he's only played, I think, one round of golf since the COVID break, but you're talking about a guy who's won majors. He competed at the Masters last year, blew it, but he was right there. You get a guy like that at 6,600. He may suck, he may miss the cut, but all these guys might miss the cut. There's a chance he could win this tournament if he just decided to turn it on. So I like him. Ryan Armour, a guy I liked last week. He played really well at Bermuda. I think that will translate over here. I'm going to ride him when he's hot because he's a very streaky golfer. A golfer, Chris, that really popped in my model, and I didn't want to like him, but I was looking at his stuff, and I kind of think I'm going to play him a little bit. Will Gordon.
Okay.
It might be because it tracks all the way back to the Travelers where he had that one great round, but
he's got good numbers off the tee. He puts himself in a position to make birdies. It's just a matter of, actually sinking the friggin' putts.
Exactly.
So Will Gordon, he's getting more experience on tour now.
He played well at Bermuda, and one of the comp courses I think the Memorial will come close to is Travelers, and if he crushed it there, he might be able to crush it here. He did well at Wyndham, which is a similar-ish course. So at 6,400, I like him cheap down there. My real dart throw plays, if you're trying to get super cheap down at the bottom there, is Sung Kang, Keith Mitchell, and John John Sung Kang, Keith Mitchell, the guys I really like cheap down low. I'll be sprinkling them in when I want to use someone up top. Anyone else you like, Chris?
The only other guy that I have down in this range that stood out to me was Johnny Vegas. In the last couple of months, he's been fantastic off the tee, consistently finding fairways. His form, he hasn't been able to finish tournaments, but it's somebody that I feel like could get hot this week. He was pretty good before the restart coming out. He had a 17 at the RBC Heritage, 24 at the Travelers. He's somebody that I feel like could get hot and might have a chance in this range.
I always liked Johnny Vegas, and like you said, right out of COVID, he was doing well, but he's missed 5 of his last 7 cuts, and the thing that is strongest about his game, like you said, is the driver, and it's just he's still gaining a little bit, but not. He needs to really gain off the tee to make up for the rest of his game. He's just not really doing it right now.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see where he takes it. Last time he was playing in Texas, the Valero Open, he had a T30. I missed the cut last year at the Houston Open, so I don't know. Maybe it is a crapshoot.
Hey, these are all dart throws, so it's not a bad one to go with some guy that has a little bit of high win equity. I mean, that's all we can hope for. So, all right, let's get into our favorite and least favorite golfers of the week. This is a segment we led off with last week. This is a segment we led off with the top of the show reviewing Bermuda. So let's do ours for Houston. Chris, who's your outright?
My outright bet this week, I still hadn't decided. I love his form. Like I said, he's been one of the hotter golfers recently. He had a 3 and a 4. He's in that $9,000 range. I'm going to have to go with Russell Henley.
Okay.
Russell Henley, like we said, he putts well in Bermuda, and he's going off at, we have lost the betting odds here.
Oh, Henley?
Russell Henley's going off at 22 right now. I kind of like the number. He's a top 5 golfer in the field, I think, as far as my stat model is breaking everything down, and I think it's this week that he finally breaks through.
All right, that's not a bad pick. Henley has looked hot. My outright pick is going to be Scotty Sheffler. I just think that he was firing on all cylinders before he got hit with COVID. He had a couple of weeks off. He's gotten back into it recently, and I just think this could be a tournament where he really pulls everything together. He's a guy that's from Texas, big Texas guy, coming on home. Houston Open, new course, Scotty Sheffler, gonna win it. Lock me in for Scheffler.
All right, let's go with that. All right, we'll jump down on the top tens, and my guy that I feel like has been playing very well recently. I'm hoping to get streaky with the putter this week and finds a good balance there is going to be Victor Hovland. He's a strong ball striker. He still hasn't broken through just yet with the victory this year, but I feel like he's sniffing the top 10 pretty consistently. He's my top 10 bet this week.
So Victor Hovland, just pulled it up, is plus 185, finished top 10. Not a bad bet. I like that. My top 10 pick, guy right next to him at plus 200, Sung Jae Im. I've mentioned it before. I'm going to bet him outright. I really think he's going to be a good top 10 play. This is the style of course he likes. This is the strength of field that he compete with. Couple of guys there at the top that he can really compete with, but this is a field where he is the cream of the crop. I think he's going to have a great week.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll jump now down to our sleeper pick. It's somebody that we've hit on a bunch. You have him as an outright. I'm considering him a sleeper just because of his odds right now in the field. I like Cam Davis as my sleeper pick.
Love it. Love it. I think that's going to be a good one, Chris. I'm going to do contrarian. Last week, I had a top 10 to fade. It was Denny McCarthy. This week, I'm going to flip it. He's my sleeper, Denny McCarthy. I think if he can get that putter going, which he has been, these are short par 5s and short par 3s. That he can stick those greens and just make those long putts. So I think he's going to be competing for the top. He might not be able to beat the likes of DJ and M and Sheffler and Henley and guys like this, but I think he'll be sniffing the top of the leaderboard.
All right, we're going to jump into our top 10 to fade. Which golfer do we do not think is going to be making the cut? And I'm avoiding him because I feel like this is a Masters warm-up for him. Yes, he knows the course, but his form, he's really about setting up for next week. It's going to be Brooks Kepka. I feel like he's a guy that he has the injury wild card there, and it's just about getting himself right, getting himself in shape for Augusta next week. I don't see him making the cut or really making too much of an effort to make the cut here.
I understand it completely. He has not been playing that well. He's been banged up. He might just be looking for that major. My top 10 to fade this week was originally going to be Henley, but the more I looked into it, I just couldn't do it. I think he might do well this week. So instead, I'm going to go with Dustin Johnson, which is a wild take. But again, I think this is similar to Kepka. This might just be a tune-up. While he's the most talented golfer in the field by far, I just think that between COVID and the time off, the Masters around the corner, he's just not going to return the value of 11,500 or 6-1, what I believe is his betting odds. So that's my fade.
All right, we'll jump in right now to the chalky golfer that we're going to wind up fading. And I'm going to pick a guy at the low end of the 10,000s. He's had good form. He had a 3 at the CJ Cup. He had a 7 at the Tour Championship. He had a really hot summer with the RBC Heritage and the Rocket Mortgage. But he's a guy that when he's off, if he's not in his rhythm, if he's not making those consecutive birdie streaks, you're not going to get the value out of him out of the top 10 is Tyrell Hatton. I'm going to stay away from him this week.
I couldn't disagree more, Chris. But hey, we'll see how it plays out because we're going to get to why I love Tyrell Hatton in a little bit. My chalk golfer that I'm going to have in zero my lineups, again, I had Henley here, but I think I'm going to change that. I think it's going to be Victor Hovland. And I hate saying it, but I think my golfer is going to be Adam Scott. I think this is a guy who has just not played enough golf. I think this is a guy who's definitely going to be doing the tune-up here with the Masters right around the corner. I don't think he gives a flying fuck about this tournament, to be honest. I think he's just, I had COVID. I'm going to play a little golf, and then I'm going to try to beat everyone else at the Masters. So give me Adam Scott as my top 10, or give me Adam Scott as my chalk to zero. Give me Adam Scott as my chalk in zero lineups.
Right. And then the last part of this, we want to get into that $6,000 and $7,000 range and find a golfer that we want to keep in every lineup. And I know where you're going to go with this, so I will avoid him in mine. I was tempted to put Wyndham Clark in here, but I do like Harold Varner. Like we said, he got it out of Bermuda early. He's got a lot to prove this week. And I feel like pricing that $7,000 range, he's going to outperform his salary.
I agree. I actually have down here. So the way I'm going to do this going forward, we have 6 to 7K golfer in every lineup. I'm going to give both. I'm going to give a 7K golfer and a 6K golfer. My 7K golfer is Harold Varner III, for every reason Chris just said. Great value. My 6K golfer, already told you I love him. Going to put an outright on him. Beau Hossler. That's my man for the 6Ks. That's just going to have him everywhere. I'm really excited. He really pops in the model. So those are my picks, Chris.
Good. Love it. All right. That wraps up the preview for the Houston Open. Any other news, notes, anything you want to add to this?
Nah, I'm just really stoked for the Masters. I've already got my 4th bet in for it on an outright, and we haven't even gotten to it yet.
That's it.
I mean, we can talk about it a little if we want, but I think the Masters show is going to be really good. Actually, next week, we are going to have a guest appearance by Mr. DJ JMO. He will be making an appearance, talking a little bit of golf. He's actually played Augusta, so he's going to give us a little breakdown of that. And we're going to have a little celebrity guest picker here, give us some outrights, top 10s, sleepers. So should be a little interesting.
Yeah, the best golfer out of all of us, the lefty, smashing the ball. He's going to come in here and kick him around a little bit.
Let's see if he actually knows more about golf than us. Oh, I completely forgot. We almost didn't touch upon it. One and done.
Oh, that's right. Actually, let me pull up the eGolf because I don't even know what the fuck I have available now. I've given up on it. I was so close to coming within striking distance of 1, getting in the money, 2, getting the sleeper pick, and trying to overtake those 2 people in the rankings that I have little personal side bets with. Let's see who I got available right now.
So while Chris is looking, I'll just lead off. I'm in 3rd place. Doc Redmond helped me out. Didn't get enough for me to get up to the 1st place money, but I'm only $750 behind. The golfer I really like this week is Chris's fade, and it's going to be Tyrell Hatton. He's 5th in my model. He's been on fire, as you said, this summer. He might not have things going, but the way I see it, he won the BMW PGA over in England. Then he came over. I thought he was going to be tired. He comes 3rd in the CJ Cup. Right after that, he goes and plays the Zozo again, and he comes 28th. Now, that's 3 big tournaments in a row, going all the way to Sunday. He's fighting. He's grinding. Finally took a week off. Went to let everyone go to Bermuda, take a week off, get to Houston, relax, gear up for the Masters. He's 2nd in the betting odds, right behind DJ. I really think that Tyrell Hatton is the play for me this week. I don't have that many golfers left. He's the only guy, I believe, above 9,600 that I even had in the Draftkings scoring. So Hatton's my pick. I hope he can at least just come in the top 5, get me up there for the Masters.
All right. Scrounge through. I found my guy. We're betting him outright this week. Skin pick is still available. I'm going to go with Bo Hostler.
Yeah!
That's all right. We're going to have a little fun. I'm sitting in 40th right now out of 200. Top 10 makes the money. I'm going to need a miracle. Pull a miracle out of my ass to get anywhere near the money in this tournament. So you know what, Bo? I'm going to throw you in this week. I'm rooting for you. I know he's going to be a skin pick. If he wins this outright, that'll be $250, I think, at this point.
It'd be a nice little payday, especially considering you're not sniffing the top 10. Bo Hostler in his last 5, 23rd, 41st, 57, 34, 26. Who knows? It's a long shot play, but the guy's got pretty decent form right now. So,
all right. Bo, do it for me, my man.
All right. Anything else, Chris?
Let's have ourselves a day.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it for us here at the A+ Sports League podcast. Remember to tune in next week. We're going to have all the Masters picks, predictions, previews. I already have a lot of money on that, so you get to see the outright betting card there. Remember to smash the like button on YouTube. That'd be very helpful. Share it with anyone that you know. And, thanks for tuning in. Have a good one, guys.